Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Yes, there's your long ball. Stretch. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305, or check them out online for more information at nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us. And welcome into everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. A big message out here real quick for our friends over in Los Angeles on KCAA. That would be NBC News and CNBC Financial. We're switching times over there. So you're going to catch us about 11 hours earlier in the day. So we're on that early morning drive. Make sure you check us out at kcaaradio.com for all the details. kcaaradio.com for all the details on the time switch over in the Los Angeles market. And a big welcome into everybody listening in, of course, in Las Vegas on 97.9 FM. And, of course, everybody streaming on social media, as well as hotels, watching in hotels and 650,000 rooms from coast to coast. Here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole. Welcome in, Tyrone.
How we doing? How are we doing? All those that are watching and all those who are listening, welcome to the Sports Circus.
All right. Hey, Tyrone, listen, with those shiny Super Bowls back there, you know, there was a path for you to get from Fort Valley, right? Fort Valley all the way to the NFL and to the Super Bowl. But I believe you had a stint in the Senior Bowl, did you not?
Yeah, the Senior Bowl. Actually, there used to be a bowl game. It was called the Blue and Gray. For all those who remember the Blue and Gray, go dig up your history if you don't. But it was a game that was played right before Christmas. And it was for all those teams back before they had the BCS, the championship game. You know, it used to be every team went to a bowl game. And for those teams who did not get selected to go to a bowl game, well, the Blue and Gray was the game where if they had a superstar player, then they would still bring all the top caliber college athletes to play in the Blue and Gray. But the Senior Bowl, that is the bowl game where the top seniors, quote unquote, the top seniors in the college football ranks, Division I, Division II, Division III, all come together and they are coached by NFL teams.
Now, the Senior Bowl there have been some tremendous players that have come through and played in that game, as you know, but there's also a lot of guys that sit out of the Senior Bowl in fear of possibly injuring themselves. Now, I know one of those guys that got injured in the Senior Bowl, and he was an offensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. He came out of USC, and he hurt his back in the Senior Bowl. Yes, he won 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers, but he was playing injured the whole time, and his back needed to be infused. So I guess sometimes players run into this really big risk kind of thing, the business decision, Tyrone. We talk about this from time to time that players make. So I like the idea that the players do play in it and they say, look, this is kind of our swan song, so to say, but not necessarily so for guys like, I don't know, your top quarterbacks, your Heisman winners. They already know kind of where they're going. What's your opinion on that?
Well, if you the guy you're referring to with the back injury, don't nobody know his history. He could have had a back injury that he suffered in high school, maybe in college, and it got re-aggravated in the Senior Bowl. So I don't think the Senior Bowl caused his injury because they do a great job down there in Mobile, Alabama. And this is an opportunity for these guys to go to the Senior Bowl and get interviewed. That's basically what it is. It is an audition. It is an interview. So anybody who is thinking about not playing in the Senior Bowl, I would strongly advise you to rethink it because this is an opportunity. You get an opportunity to be coached by NFL guys, not college coaches who are catering to your emotions. You're now being trained and coached by professional coaches. You're put in a professional environment. So I don't know about the injury and all kind of guys. Football is a sport that is very, contact. You could have had an injury in high school, could have suffered it in college, so we don't know. But I do, and I will say this, even if you are injured, before you get to the Senior Bowl, still go there just for the interviews, just to let the coaches see how you are, because this really determines where you go and you fall as far as the draft. Now, as far as the big name player, well, again, you can choose to do whatever you want to do. If you know that you are a solid top 5, then yes, or top 10 or whatever. Yes, I probably would think about it. But if I am not that guy, then I think you go and you take advantage of every opportunity, because this is an opportunity for these coaches, again, to see you and compare you against this other guy. Now, maybe it's another tackle. Maybe it's another defensive lineman, it's receiver, defensive back. So when you miss out on opportunities like that to showcase your talent against the best of the best, then I think you shortchange yourself. So, again, I just think it's the best type of game you should play in if you want to be noticed by NFL scouts and coaches, GMs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Tyrone. I mean, look, if you are somewhere in the middle of the pack, let's just say, but you're NFL caliber, maybe there's, several guys at your position, whatever. This is your chance to have that conversation, to have, like you said, to have that interview, to maybe make your case as a human outside of, we already know what you could do on the field, but how are you going to represent the team off the field? Does that make any kind of a difference, Tyrone?
It does, Sal. It does. I'm like, it's just like when they go and they look at pitchers, yourself playing baseball, they go scout them. They just don't go and sign a guy. I got to see him pitch. And then, okay, let me see him pitch against various types of talent. Just because you're playing Division II football or whatever division, okay, that's good. But we all know that not all 11 guys on that team are good. But when you go to the Senior Bowl or any All-Star game, you got 11 guys that are the best of the best. So that is the best simulation that you can get on the NFL level. You're going to be the best 11 guys on that field. So you're not going to have one guy who is a so-so player. You got defensive linemen in the NFL right now who could run maybe a 4.5. The Senior Bowl, these All-Star games, is a great opportunity to see who you are, and the cream always rises to the top.
So the off the field way you carry yourself, because there's a lot of guys that find themselves somehow in the middle of trouble. Maybe they get some booster money or whatever it is. Then they go and maybe carry a gun or something and do something stupid with it, whatever. But I guess my question is, when you're in these interviews outside of we already know what you can do on the field. How important are those interviews with the NFL coaches and the staff, whatever, to convey, this is who I am. Also off the field, I won't embarrass the franchise.
But these coaches are already done. That's the other thing I understand too, Sal, and all those who are listening and watching. These coaches have already done their homework. They're not professional just because they woke up and said, I want to be a professional. A lot of these guys have been professional coaches. They've been assistant coaches at some point before they became a head coach or a GM. So they know what you have to go through. And they know everybody make a mistake. When I came out and went into the draft, I found out that they went all the way back to my high school. Talk to my high school coach. So this ain't just the first time that these coaches have heard about these guys, but this is the first time for these players, like you said, to make a case for themselves that, hey, I am better, or explain that situation in more detail, because you can't trust the media. The media are going to write what they want to write. Whatever can sell, that's what they're going to write, whether it's the truth or not. They're just out to try to get people eyes and ears to buy their stuff. But that's where you need to get it straight from the horse's mouth. So this is where it's a great opportunity for that player to go in and talk to these coaches one-on-one. And that's why you see some of these coaches picking players who the public, the media, who probably never put on a jock strap. Oh, why did they take that guy? Because those coaches are smarter than you, media personnel. They have spoken with these guys, and they know the true story. So they know that this guy really, he wasn't the one that was involved, or she was the one that was involved. So it's more to the detail. But the media won't let you know that because they're not going to write that. But to answer your question, Sal, it's a great opportunity for these guys to talk about what went wrong or what went right during their career up until that point.
Right. And you, as a college coach yourself over at Clark Atlanta, of course, a big round of applause for Tyrone being involved with Clark Atlanta. The fact is, you get to help shape these minds, keep them focused, and you know what it's like to win. You know what it's like to come from a D2 school. You know what it's like to go to an HBCU. You know what it's like, what they're dealing with every day, because you've already been in that rodeo. And I think you can prepare some of these kids in a way where maybe they weren't given necessarily certain guidance, but now, because you've already been in that rodeo, you know how to do that. And you know how to convey all those right messages.
Well, I think everybody on all levels, you got Division I schools, whether it's the SEC or the Pac-12 or whatever the case may be, they got what they call character coaches. So it doesn't matter. It's not just a Division II thing. It's a all sport thing. It goes into women's sports. So, everyone has some type of character flaw. And what you want to do is surround them with people. I always tell people this: a great teacher was once a great student. So you want to surround yourself with people who can help you get to that next level. And that's what we try to do as coaches and character coaches, or whatever you want to call them.
All right, folks, we're going to be back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole in just a moment. Right. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford. He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is, he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from The Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Didn't you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? That was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby, and let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone? Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible.
That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes! Only on the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports. You get music.
You're watching the Sports Circus, and I am Brian Urlacher.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas. This segment brought to you by the American Business Trust Company, helping companies with strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing companies with physical locations or on the internet. For more information, contact the American Business Trust Company at 657-600-1876. That's 657-600-1876. 657-600-1876. Or visit them online for more information at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco, abtrustco.com. And welcome in to everybody listening in on Magic 97.9 FM right here in Las Vegas and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, in the last segment, we had Senior Bowl talk. What about after these players play in the Senior Bowl and we say, okay, we know that they're great players. What about the egos with the big contracts? How does that work? Because you got to have a good ego, first of all, to play high school sports, to play college sports, and to play professional sports. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, well, I'm gonna turn the table, like spin the bottle. I'm gonna come back to you on that same question. I'm gonna ask you that same question. You played sports. You were a pitcher. What type of ego did you have? How would you describe yourself?
It was fairly big. However, I knew my place because I knew I wasn't necessarily the best player on the clubs that I played with, although I was the fastest in running, that's for sure. So they could stick me out in center field and I can overrun a fly ball because I was really good at that. My depth perception was literally 60 foot 6 inches to the game. You put me 300 feet away from the ball and I'm running in to field the ball and the ball sailing right over my head. It's just the way that you see the game. But I had a big ego to a degree, but it wasn't out of control because I knew what my role was on the team.
Okay, so what type of ego would you say you had? Were you the ego like, you know what, I'm the best, and if you're going to beat me, then you got to come with it? Or did you have that attitude that, hey, you know what, everybody deserves an opportunity? Or what was it? You had an ego like, hey, no, if you're gonna beat me, you got to beat me? Or did you have that ego, you know what, let's give such and such a participation trophy certificate? What was your attitude? What was your ego?
My attitude, and I'll tell you what, this is where it started. So the first time I ever picked up a ball and played in any organized league was when I was 12 years old. People had asked me, hey, why don't you play ball? I'm like, I don't really want. I played playground ball, right? So my sister said, okay. My sister Barbara, I'm going to give her a little bit of props, all right? So my sister Barbara had said, hey, why don't you play organized baseball? And I said, I don't really want to, but I'll do it for you. And so I played in this league. It was called the Bronco League when I was 12, and I played on a team called Denko Insurance. Our colors were orange and white. And we stuck out like a sore thumb, and we were the worst team in the history of the league. It was so bad, Tyrone. I knew I was pretty good, but I didn't know the other kids that had played organized ball. But I'll tell you what, I knew that the 7 guys behind me, right, all my infielders and outfielders, I knew that they could not catch the ball. I felt that I had to strike everybody out, and I took it personal when somebody put the ball in play, let alone foul the ball off. That's where it started for me because I had no confidence in my team. And then when I went to high school, I had to relearn that, oh, by the way, the 7 guys behind me are pretty darn good. And then, of course, as you move up the ladder, it gets really good. So my attitude started, my ego started in 6th grade because I had no choice. You ain't going to hit the ball off me.
And see, that's the point. So I had to ask you that so that everyone understands. It doesn't matter what part of life you're in. Now, I know we're talking about sports here, but it's anything. If you want to be a CEO, you got to have an ego. You got to have an ego. You got to be the person. I'm going to kind of like add a little bit more flavor to it. As a top person, you have to have like you said, control ego. It's a control ego. You just can't go and just let it go wild. But even as a top-notch CEO, you still got to walk with a type of confidence. You got to exude, I know what I'm doing. And that will bring an ego. The more your company becomes more successful, it feeds into your ego. It feeds into your ego. So athletes are no difference. That's why I'm going to do the talk and grind, people. It's a great show. I'm telling you, need to stay tuned. Need to tune in, AMP TV. But as far as athletes, again, you look at any other great athletes you want to look at. You look at Wayne Gretzky. Can't tell me Wayne didn't have no ego, man. He probably just controlled it. But there's nowhere in the world I would think to be as great as he was, he'll say, you know what? I'm just a so-so guy. No, I'm the best, man. I'm the best. And if you're going to beat me, you better bring it. Everybody always talk about Michael Jordan. Again, they looked at The Last Dance. His ego, that's why they Bulls won. His ego would not let him lose. Now, again, you got to control it. But your ego can help you become successful in corporate America. It can help you become successful in the athletic arena. And those people who say, I have a problem with people who got egos, I bet you, if you go back and look at their history, they haven't won too much. They haven't won too much, because if you are a winner, meaning there are different types of winners, just like success is relevant to everybody. What's successful to one is not success to the other one. But when I'm talking about the success, top notch, you got to have an ego. It feeds into it, man. The more and more you become great at something, that's what they call it's confidence. Confidence, man. You get more confidence. So it breeds an ego. To me, it's like the wet and the water. Ego, confident. You can't separate it.
That's right. And for all those people that say, well, this guy's an egomaniac or whatever. Now maybe they take things to an extreme, but look, you look at managers in the workplace, for example. Let's relate this to everybody that's listening at every level, right? Even if you are a teenager, maybe you just got your first job at your local fast food place or retail store or whatever. The fact is, you had to be confident enough to get the job, first and foremost. Now, the pride of ownership in doing that job is yet another piece of the puzzle. If you don't have any pride of ownership, what the hell are you doing there? Because at the end of the day, you've got to be accountable, and you've got to be able to do the right thing when no one's looking, right? That integrity piece. You have to be able to lead by example. And they say, well, ego has nothing to do with that. That's absolutely wrong. Your ego is your self-confidence. It's your ability to succeed in the first place. So whether you're running corporate America, whether you're on the field, whether you're on the playground, it's your ability to lead and lead by example. That's the ego we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what? We're going to give all those who are arguing like, I don't, ego, no. This is what the dictionary says that an ego is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Now, there are a lot of people out there who have low self-esteem. So I get it. I can understand why they see ego as being bad, because if you got low self-esteem or you don't see yourself important, then you're not going to be in that arena of ego. But again, it's a control ego, but you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that, you know what, I'm just as important as the next person. But you got so many people out there that suffer from low self-esteem that's why they can't win championship. That's why I'm like Kobe Bryant, God rest his spirit. Like I said, Wayne Gretzky. You can look at anybody. We talked about Kurt Schilling. We talked about Roger Clemens. We talking about Sal. We talking about you, Michael. Anybody who has won and done it at the greatest level, whether corporate America, in the family, or in sports. You got some families, they got egos. They like, man, that family just think that they are all that. Yes, you know what? I need to hang around that family because they know their self-importance and they have no lack of self-esteem. But you just got to control it. You don't want to get out of hand and you start to think of yourself more than you're supposed to. But you got to have an ego.
You absolutely have to have an ego. And let's face it, if you're driving to and from work right now, right, we don't know whether you're going to, whether you're from, if you're in a car, and you don't have to be Mario Andretti in there. You know, we had Mario on the show. Mario was a lot of fun with us. But, I mean, look, ultimately, you don't have to be the egomaniac to be in first place out of every other car. There you have to understand everybody's trying to get to where they're trying to get to. But in life, A lot of people are trying to get to a destination. Some people don't realize that they're on a road to a destination. But at the end of the day, it's their daily, what they do is that's dictating the rate in which they get to that destination. Now, even if they're people of low self-esteem, guess what? Somebody like me is going to say, let's go, move it, come on, move it. And why are we going to do this? Because we want people to get up, get on, get moving, and get on with their lives in a way that they're not being passive. They're saying, well, we don't want this complacency. Well, look, at the end of the day, stop with the complacency, stop with the excuses, stop with the procrastination, get your ass up and do something, because guess what? At the end of the day, nobody's going to do it for you but you. You're going to do it for you. That's how that one works. Hell yeah.
So you got teams that got egos. That's why they win all the time. That's an ego. So you got some professional athletes, they have low self-esteem. I'm not as good as this person. That's why they're always playing second fiddle. But those guys who say, you know what, I'm just as good as he or she is, those are the ones that go out there and they make it happen. Those are the ones that everybody wants to be around. Those are the ones that everybody want to hear from. So, man, I love it, man. The Sports Circus, we got an ego.
I know. This is exciting. It's exciting. And listen, folks, if you want a little bit more, come back in just a few minutes. We've got lots more with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior. That would be Tyrone Poole, that guy right over there, everybody watching on TV. Back here in a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Attention businesses of all sizes affected by COVID-19. The federal government has introduced the Employee Retention Credit. It's a new relief program that allows you to collect up to $26,000 per employee. If your business was forced to close due to COVID-19, or you lost 20% or more of your sales, you may qualify for free financial relief. There's no limit to the amount you can file for, and you don't have to pay the money back. Call Park Settlement now. They'll explain to you how much you qualify for and how fast the funds can be in your business bank account. To find out if you qualify for the ERC program, call Park Settlement right now for details. There's no upfront cost to you, and you could receive up to $26,000 per employee. Call right now for details. 800-509-1238. 800-509-1238. 800-509-1238. That's 800-509-1238. Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas. This segment brought to you by Talk and Grind. We have a new show coming on to AMP TV, and here's Tyrone Poole to tell a little bit more about what's coming up with this new show called Talk and Grind.
Hey, Talk and Grind. For those people who cannot see me, that's why you got to subscribe to AMP TV so you can watch and see what we are doing. We do some funny stuff. Sometimes it's crazy stuff. Sometimes it'll make your mouth drop. You're like, wow, I can't believe Sal did that. But Talk and Grind is a great show. Going to be seen here on AMP TV. It's going to be around the world. What I try to do with Talk and Grind, I try to parallel sports and life. Just like how we talking about egos. You know what? I just said people in corporate America have egos. So it's not just athletes. So Talk and Grind, you got to tune in. And then you're going to get a great physical workout. Oh, you're going to love it. If you got some abs that you're trying to work on, if you got 2 abs and you missing the other 6, come on to Talk and Grind. I'll help you find the other 6. It's going to be a great show. So Talk and Grind, baby. Don't miss it. Only right here on AMP TV.
Talk and Grind. Well, guess what? Tyrone, I think I've got 4 of those abs and I'm missing a couple, but I've been working on it, man. I'm down quite a bit. We'll see. We'll just keep on trucking with that, but taking your advice, and we'll see where it takes me in a couple of months. Hopefully I'll find a couple of more abs in there, if you know what I mean.
And you know, I said 8. I said 2, you're missing 6. A lot of people say 6-pack. They think you got 6 abs, but actually there are 8 ab muscles. If you don't believe me, go check it out on any muscle poster, and you count those ab muscles. It's 8.
Yeah, the hardest 2 to get are the 2 lower ones. Those are really, really difficult. And that is a lot of diet and a lot of also focused on that. But the diet for a lot of people won't allow those 2 bottom ones to show up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you know, a lot of that come, and be honest with you, one of my secrets, you know what, I'm letting the secret out already. I got to put the Talk and Grind, okay? This is a Talk and Grind secret, okay? Talk and Grind, you guys see that? Okay, Talk and Grind, one of the secrets that helped me get those lower abs. Now, if let me take my shirt. No, I ain't going to take my shirt off. You know what? But one of the keys to getting that lower, I know, right, Sal? One of the keys to getting, and you guys don't know what Sal just did. He went to pull up his shirt. So, see, that's the thing you miss when you don't see us in person. Look at him shaking his head. But one of the keys that I like, one of the things I like to do to really work on those lower abs is sprint work, because those lower abs, along with your hip flexors, help lift your legs. So I know people like to jog. There's nothing wrong with jogging, but you go look at any sprinter, whether high school, college, or professionally, look at their abdominal system. Look at the lower abs, because the lower abs are used a little bit in making them legs pump. So try out sprinting, people. You don't have to be a Usain Bolt, but just do a little bit of sprinting.
Tyrone, does that count for former sprinters, if you know what I mean? I'm a former sprinter. I just haven't done it in, I don't know, almost 40 years or something like that. So I don't know.
It's there, Sal. It's there. Here's the thing. Just like we know you're in Vegas, the Raiders, hey, once a Raider, always a Raider. Well, once you got the abs, you always have the abs. What you got to do, Sal, you got to put that in them Sundays, man. You got to put that in them Sundays, man. I see you all the time posting, I got a Sunday. Look at the Look at the chocolate syrup. Oh, look at the cherry on top. Doesn't that look good? Can't do that, Sal. You can't do that, man.
Hey, I haven't been doing that. I've actually been very good. I think the last time I had a hot fudge sundae was October. It's been a long time since I've had a hot fudge sundae. No, man, I have shut that down. I'm about 33 down from when I saw you down in Atlanta last time I was there. That's a lot.
See that? But there you go. There you go. So it's there. Keep on working, Sal. Keep on grinding.
Keep on working. All right, so let me ask you this. All right, so we're talking about this ego thing and especially we look at the most visible spot on a football team. What is that? It's the quarterback position, right? It's the most visible. Here's your front man, whatever. What happens when you have a quarterback? And let's just take Jared Goff over in Los Angeles. Nobody knows what's going to happen there because he's been, in my opinion, he's been a tremendous disappointment. And so the Rams are actually expected to have open quarterback competition if this guy isn't traded. Now, according to CBS Sports, if the Rams open training camp with Goff still on the roster, that doesn't necessarily mean that he will be the number one. And according to NFL Network, the Rams are expected to have an open competition at quarterback between Goff and John Wolford this summer. But let's tell you what, never mind all that. Let's go back to the available list of quarterbacks here. Now, Jared Goff is on this list. And this list of quarterbacks available, listen, Rams, you've got a lot more coming your way. You got Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, of course, we mentioned, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Newton still in the mix, Teddy Bridgewater, even Mitchell. Are you ready for this one? Mediocre Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, he's even on this list. But Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Alex Smith, and Ben Roethlisberger, who likely will retire. Look, there's a lot of guys that can come into this open competition, if you will, with the Rams. And you'll have some guys, Tyrone, possibly just trying out for the club. Maybe it's one of those quarterbacks. Who knows? Maybe it's Carson Wentz. What do you think about open competition if you're supposed to be the number one guy on a team and the team invites other quarterbacks in this particular position? I liked the idea. All right, you say you're the number one guy. Why don't you go out and prove it? Otherwise, you're going to lose your job. What do you think about that?
Well, first and foremost, you go and you look at Jared Goff, the 2020 season. Basically, he threw 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, basically had 67% completion ratio. So that may not be what they are looking for at the quarterback position. So, of course, when you put up numbers like that, you invite your coaching staff to say, we got to get better in that position. Now, he's a Ram right now. But again, it's always revolving doors. That's what I call the NFL. It's revolving doors. They are always looking to get better. Your job is not safe. That's why I'm so happy to talk about my stint of 12 years as a starter, because no matter where I went, I started. But everywhere I went, they were looking to replace me. But I did just enough to make sure I held on to my starting position, because every coach is saying, what missing pieces, or what pieces do we have and what pieces are we missing that will get us to the Super Bowl? So again, the Rams are looking at the fact that the quarterback position is a position they got to upgrade. So when you look at that, you look at Dak Prescott, he's out there. Like you said, Cam Newton, you got Carson Wentz, you got a whole lot of quarterbacks. But the most important thing is going to be, does that quarterback fit your system? That's the most important thing that coaches and fans have to remember. Does this player fit our style of play? And I think if you find that guy, then you bring him in and boom, you elevate your offense just like that.
Well, for everybody watching on television, you can see I have this really cool flag behind me. It's actually the state flag of the state of Louisiana. Of course, we are on our friend stations right down there in Faraday, Louisiana. That'd be 107.1 The River. And also that covers Natchez, Mississippi, too. But we've got that Louisiana state flag, and we bring that up because you got Jameis Winston. And Jameis, now I like Jameis when he was over in Tampa. So I don't think he had the right quarterback coach over there. But this guy's a Heisman winner, man. This guy is good. He is exciting. And if Drew Brees does retire, no question, Winston is the guy. He got a chance to sit behind Breeze for a year and watch what he does. I mean, Breeze playing with 11 broken or cracked ribs and shoulder problems and all kind of crap, whatever. But he saw what a gamer he was. And I think that maybe could have helped Jameis in a particular way. But I like the fact that he's sitting back there waiting for that starting job. He's a good one. So he's on this list of available quarterbacks. I don't see him going anywhere. He's staying right there in the great state of Louisiana. In my opinion, he is staying right there with Sean Payton.
Yeah, you know what, Sean Payton, that's why I think he's one of the greatest coaches in this era of football. The reason why I believe you didn't see Jameis Winston play was because Sean did not want the rest of the NFL, just my personal professional opinion, he did not want the rest of the NFL to see how he would use Winston. So now the rest of the NFL, if Drew Brees retires, there's a question mark. How would Sean Payton use Winston? Now we know Sean Payton's offense, but we don't know his offense with Winston in it. So I think that was a great ploy by Sean Payton. Hey, let's hide Jameis. Let's hide him until the next season. Now, all 31 teams got to figure out what we're doing with him. So I think that was a good move. That's what great head coaches do. That's what egos do for you. Hey, you know what? That's how we coach.
Yeah. And the fact that I'm going to say that Breeze is likely going to retire. He and I were at Purdue at the same time. Go Boilers. And so I look at the way he has developed, but I also look at the way that a guy like Sean Payton handled him. I think he handled him very well. And I love the fact that Winston could actually step in and play that same position with a stronger arm at this point, right? But he also has some legs. The guy can run, whereas Breeze was really the pocket passer. He scrambled a little bit, but he wasn't a running guy. But they'll still use Taysom Hill in the same way that they did previously, whether it's short yardage gainers or something to that effect, maybe that wildcat setup, but really with Taysom Hill in there as a quarterback, even though he really is kind of everything on the field. That's a very interesting mix. Tyrone, take us out to break.
But you know what? Again, Jameis Winston, I think he's a pocket quarterback and he's a scrambler. So you get all in one. Just like this show, you got Sal, you got myself, you got a runner, you got a person who's a sitter. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, people. More Sports Circus coming right back at you.
AMP, the multi-format network, is here to help create, produce, distribute, and sell your content. For more information, send a message to info@aamp.tv. That's info@aamp.tv.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. High pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize, there's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has the Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. One ball, one strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. One ball, two strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about our congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul on a play. Why not talk about commercial products that don't do what they represent to do? They told me when they hired me it was a temporary job. Born and raised in St. Louis, and you can imagine the Cardinals were my favorite team from the day I could remember. And all of a sudden, the miracle of life, I'm broadcasting Card games. I own the town and broadcast them for 25 years, and I thought they're going to give me a gold watch, and they gave me a pink slip. Then I went out to work for Charlie Finley for a year, and that's par for the course. Came to Chicago, and I was with the White Sox 11 years, and now with the Cubs. Never missed a game, never missed a time at bat, never missed a half inning that I was supposed to do. You know, Chicago is such a marvelous city. Hey, we got some Chicago people. You know, you never succeed in this business until you've had the experience of working with a terrible hangover. Not until you've been able to come through with flying colors under those circumstances can you consider yourself a professional. Lord knows I've had more than my share of hangovers.
There's a drive, way back, it might be, it could be, and it is. Holy cow, this crowd is wild.
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
And welcome back to the Sports Circus. We want to thank all those who are watching from California all the way down to Hawaii, all the way through Las Vegas, Magic 97.9, through Texas, Louisiana, Faraday, coming all the way to the East Coast, Atlanta, up north to Boston. Hello, hello, hello. All those that are watching, listening to us, should I say, on CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, those who are watching on Hotel TV, those who are watching on Facebook, and also those that are dialing up on thesportscircus.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm no other than Tyrone Poole. I'm working this thing with Sal, the great ringmaster. The Sports Circus this segment brought to you by the Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation, where we reform, refill, and restore success in people's lives. If you want to learn more or if you want to donate, just go to TyronePoole38Foundation.org. Again, that's Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation.O to the R to the G. And now back to the man that created the Sports Circus, the great ringmaster himself, Sal.
All right. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. By the way, everybody listening over in the Los Angeles market on KCAA, make sure that you go to us on your streamer about 11 hours before, or 13 hours after you normally do, because we're going to be with you on your early morning drive on 106.5 FM, 102.3 FM, and 1050 AM. Yes, Monday through Friday. In fact, we're even going to have an encore show on Saturdays, too. Not really sure. It could be a best of. I don't know where that one's going to go yet, so just make sure you stay tuned to the Sports Circus. Get all the information at kcaaradio.com. All right. So, Tyrone, all the hockey games out there that you've been to, I know you're a hockey fan, as am I. How many games have you seen a hat trick, 3 goals in one game by one player?
Ooh, you know what? I haven't seen one lately. But I know you're going to tell us about the hat trick.
Well, the fact is, if any player scores 3 goals, right, in one game, usually if you're at the home ice, with the home arena, people will take their hats off and throw them out. They'll throw their favorite hats out onto the ice as a tribute to the player, because that's the hat trick. And by the way, a natural hat trick is 3 consecutive goals without the other team scoring. So this season, because we have the big bad pandemic, whatever, now we don't have fans in the stadiums for the most part. Sometimes you'll have a smattering of fans here and there, as we've seen in the NFL. And what I'm not seeing, I've already watched 2 games on television that actually had hat trick. One from the Vegas Golden Knights. In fact, that was a game I just watched. Max Pacioretty, if I'm not mistaken, got his hat trick. And I also saw Suter from the Chicago Blackhawks get his hat trick. But the problem was there were no hats on the ice. Nobody could throw them. They didn't even have the creativity in these organizations to maybe put them in some kind of netting above the ice surface. And if somebody by chance happened to have a hat trick, that maybe they would drop the hats onto the ice. Now, I would love to see something like that, but we're not seeing it. The fans are getting cheated, and frankly, the players are getting cheated out of the celebration of the illustrious hat trick. How do you feel about that?
You know what? The hat trick is like just similar to any sporting event that really the fans are a big part of it. So when we used to talk about will the fans be missed, yes and no, but certain instances where the fans are a real big part of the game, yes, you miss that part. Like you say, the hat trick, or in football, the Green Bay leap. You know, you're leaping into the stands. There's no fans there.
Right.
Actually, what make that happen? So the hat trick, like you said, without the fans, it's like, okay, what do we do now? Okay, there are no hats. So yeah, I get it, man. I get it 100%.
Maybe that's why the Seattle Seahawks didn't do so well in the playoffs, because they didn't have their 12th man, right? So the fans weren't there. So really it was just 11. But back to this hat trick thing. Look, this is really disturbing, because that is a really big part of a hockey game, and it's a very big part of the fan experience. It's their chance to throw something onto the surface without getting thrown out of the stadium. So I don't know. It's frustrating. I mean, even in Detroit, I say in Detroit, all of our listeners over in Detroit, you know what I said, but they throw an octopus after wins, after playoff wins and stuff. And there was a reason, because that goes back to, it used to take eight games to win the Stanley Cup trophy, the Stanley Cup finals and whatnot. And so to win the Stanley Cup itself, it took 8. So there were 8 legs, of course, on the octopus, and that's where they throw the octopus out there. And down in Florida, they would actually throw a rat on the ice, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But the fan experience is missing with all of this. And you know what else they're missing? I'll tell you what, Tyrone, it's not very cool. But here you've got this issue with a quality of game, first of all, right? But now the NHL has tried to become a little bit more technically inept. So they said, we're going to go ahead and put these tracking chips in the pucks. And now the NHL announced, in fact, just a couple of days ago, that the pucks are embedded with tracking technology. They'll no longer be in use. A big round of applause for that. Because the change is due to complaints regarding the puck's performance, which began being used at the start of this season. Now, the league began phasing out the pucks just a couple of days ago. And according to the Four-Letter Network, the NHL determined that the first supply of tracking pucks that were being used didn't receive, quote, the same precise finishing treatments during the off-season manufacturing process as were used in the year previously and in the Cup finals from the year previous. Now, at least one NHL player told the Four-Letter Network that the pucks were, quote, terrible and don't slide, close quote. However, the league isn't completely doing away with the puck embedding with technology tracking. The NHL expects the new supply of pucks to be available soon, and they will, quote, undergo appropriate quality control testing, close quote, before being used in actual games. Now, in the meantime, the league will be using the same pucks from the 1920 season that don't have this tracking nonsense. And by the way, this marks the first time the NHL planned to use tracking pucks for a full season. Okay, so they're always trying to improve the game, improve the fan experience, Tyrone. As a watcher on television versus a watcher in the seats, do you really need the puck tracking? It's not about the fans, but this is about maybe penalties, maybe about determining if a puck had crossed over the goal line to see if it actually is a goal or not. Or they can also use it for offsides calls. Does it hurt the fan experience? This season it has, because the puck doesn't slide the same along the ice. But guys like you and me, Tyrone, we're not really going to see that now, are we?
No, I think, Sal, what could be another alternative is if they could use some type of radar sensor or beam in the net itself, like along the bars, put some type of sensor that covers up the whole like net. So if that puck breaks any part of that sensor, then it's going to go off. It's going to, so put the big red light or whatever on top, which they have. So, and then you got the actual sensors. So you could, that way you don't have to put the chip in the puck, and you can still use the original puck, and it'll slide the way it's supposed to slide.
There is a caveat to that, and the problem is a lot of times the goalie will back into the net to stop the puck, because that's the goalie's real estate. So how do you do that? And that's why they put this puck tracking device in there. So if the puck crosses the plane of the goal, that blue goal line, like we have it's a little bit different in football. All the football has to do is touch the goal line. But in hockey, the puck has to go across 100% of the goal line. A little bit different there.
You know what? I think even with that there, they need to change that rule. If any part of the puck was entering the net, then it was going in the net. I'm like, the only way the puck would not go into the net is if it hit the railing on the outside, just like a field goal being kicked. If that ball is not going to be interfered with the uprights, it's going through. Now, the only way that ball is not going to go through if it hits the upright. So the same thing with the puck. The puck would, if it did not interfere with the railing, then it's going in. So even if an inch of the puck goes into the net, the rest of the puck was going into the net.
Well, keep in mind that the goal is actually past the goal line. So you can hit the goalpost and it won't go in. It doesn't matter. However, that end line, basically that goal line right there, that is your protector. The goal, I can't tell you how many times I've watched games, numerous times in the game, numerous times. You'll see the puck will actually be straddling the goal line, but it has to cross 100%. That's the one thing I do like about hockey as far as some of the goal rules. You know, they have a trapezoid behind the net where the goalie can't go wander out in the corners to play the puck like they used to. I don't like that rule, but they did that for more scoring and crap like that. But the end line, they kind of have to keep it that way, and I'm okay with that. But the tracking thing, and it doesn't really matter to guys like you and me or anybody else watching, because we're watching a game. We're not watching to see we don't know the velocity of the puck. It's sliding faster by 1 mile per hour. What's the difference?
Yeah, like you said, how can you really tell as a fan? The speed of the puck really doesn't matter, but for a player, that means everything. It's just like any sport. With you playing baseball, just the grip and the feel of the baseball does wonders with how you put rotation on it. The same thing with a quarterback, how they get the feel and grip. There you go. You got your baseball. So same thing with a puck. As a player, I would think the speed of the puck really is important, because just slowing it down 1 mile per hour again gives the goalie an opportunity to stop the puck. So speed, I would think, is very important as a player with that puck.
Yeah, Tyrone, what if we slowed you 1 mile an hour on your coverage? Here, you're covering prime time. You're covering Deion Sanders. If you were 1 mile an hour slower, would you give the same coverage to Deion? Maybe your approach would have to change, wouldn't it?
It definitely would have to change. So again, if you slow down the puck, and then what that does, it lends itself to, if they slow it down 1 mile per hour, then next year they may want to slow it down 2 miles per hour. Next year they may want to slow it down 3 miles per hour. So let the puck stay where it is. So whatever it is, let it slide like it slide, and let the athletes determine how fast that puck goes. The bigger you are, the faster it's going to go, because you got more power to put behind the puck. The weaker you are, the less it's going to be. So the speed of the puck is controlled by the player.
Right. There's no question. I think a lot of people seem to miss that idea, because, look, we're just watching. We're eating popcorn. We're doing what we're doing. we're not really seeing anything over and above the action on the ice, but we don't know the speed changes everything. And folks, if you haven't learned anything about this show today, believe me, speed is everything on the field, on the ice, on the court, even on the bowling lane. It's the same thing, folks. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole for joining us today. Big round of applause for Tyrone. All right, make sure you check out Talk and Grind here on AMP TV. And guess what? We're out of here, and we'll see you next time right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Bye-bye.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.